Off to our left, we've got a building with the green roofs and the flag masts. This is the Ministry of Defence. It's home to the Army, the Royal Navy and the Royal Air Force. But this building is locally known as the Iceberg, and that's because only 1/3 of it can be seen from the surface. The other 2/3 of that building are underground. In front of the iceberg there's a stone column with a golden eagle, and that's the pier door. That's a memorial to all the airmen and airwomen who lost their lives during the First and Second World War. Also on our left you've got the great paddle steamer, Cathedral Castle. She started with her life as a car ferry on the River Humber. She was brought to London to become a floating art gallery. Now she was a gallery for 2 years, and then someone turned her into something Londoners love instead, a floating pub. Apparently she made more money in her first 2 weeks in the pub than she made in the whole 2 years as an art gallery. To show you what an artist we like to be. But the bridge ahead of us is Charing Cross Railway Bridge. The Charing Cross station is over on the left. Now the architect who designed that station won over £10,000 for making it look like a steam train emerging from a tunnel. I've been looking at it for a few years now, and I don't think it looks anything like a steam train. It looks more like a 1950s jukebox, but he won the money, so well done to him. Now as we pass through this bridge, we also pass under and over a railway at the same time. And that's because we're about to pass over the Northern and Bakerloo lines of London Underground. But now we're through the bridge, we make a brief stop at Embankment Pier to pick up some more passengers, and then a second stop over at Festival Pier to pick up some more. So just bear with me for a few moments, folks. I'll be back with you once we leave here.
Royal Festival. Yeah, that's the big one.
Now this is the longest bridge in central London, which is under a quarter of a mile, and it's one of the only bridges in London to have been built on time and on budget. So well done, Michelle. Through the bridge and off to the left is Somerset House with its green dome. Now that used to be home to the registrar for all births, marriages and deaths. And they had a curious nickname in our civil service. They were known as the Hatcham, Matcham and Dispatching Department. Now when they eventually moved out, the Inland Revenue moved in, and it became the Catcham Department instead. Off to the left there's a large white ship with the yellow funnel. That's HQS Wellington. Now she escorted merchant ships during the Second World War, and after the war, she was given to the Honourable Company of Master Mariners to become their floating livery hall. She's basically a drinking club for retired sea captains. Behind the Wellington there's a stone archway with a face of River Thames, and that's Temple Stairs Arch. Is the boundary marker for the city of Westminster where we're about to leave, and the city of London we're about to enter. The city of London's the smallest capital city in the world. It's only 1 square mile. Ahead of us on the right there's a large red brick building with a tower on top, and that's Stamford Walk. It's more commonly known as the Oxo Tower. Now this building used to be a coal store for the famous Oxo company, and when they had it designed, it was illegal to advertise on the River Thames unless your company had something to do with it. Well, the bridge ahead of us is Blackfriars Road Bridge, and this was built at the request of Queen Victoria to commemorate the Dominican monastery that stood over on the left. The monks wore black habits, that's where we get the name Blackfriars. The red columns ahead of us are all the remains of the old London to Chatham and Dover Railway. That was built by Thomas Cubitt, but it was taken down because it couldn't take the weight of the modern day trains. If they took these columns away, it would undermine the foundations of the other 2 bridges. The third bridge is the Blackfriars Railway Bridge, and this was built by Henry Mark Brunel, son of Isambard Kingdom Brunel. This bridge was actually widened onto the columns of the original for the London Olympics. The Blackfriars station now spans the width of the River Thames, and it has the largest solar powered roof in Europe as well. Off to the left, we've got the magnificent dome of St Paul's Cathedral. Now, St Paul's was designed by Christopher Wren. It stands 365 feet high. It's the second largest unsupported cathedral dome in the world. The largest is on St Peter's Basilica in the Vatican. Now, Wren himself is buried in a tomb alongside the Iron Duke of Wellington and Admiral Lord Nelson. Above Wren's tomb there's a Latin inscription that roughly translates to, "If you seek his monuments, look about you." And that refers to over 120 of Wren's buildings, churches and landmarks, from Hampton Court Palace, about 21 miles behind us, to the old Royal Naval College. As for years, they spent millions of pounds demobilising it, and is now perfectly safe. You can find the wobble on display in the Tate Modern. We're about to make our way alongside Bankside Pier. If anybody wants to leave us here for Shakespeare's Globe, the Tate Modern, London Bridge Station or Borough Market, just head downstairs at the front of the boat, not goods area, but it's still famous for its fresh fish, and our language from its porters. Young man called Maurice Bicklewhite started his career there, and he later went on to become the famous Cockney actor, Michael Caine. A lot of people say Billy's Day is when he learned how to swear properly. But off to the left is one of London's most famous landmarks, and that's the Tower of London. Now, the square keep with the 4 turrets, that's the White Tower, and that was built by William the Conqueror around 1078. Over the last 900 years, the tower's been a royal palace, development, an armory, observatory, menagerie, place of execution, and home to the crown jewels. Now, traitors were tried at Westminster Hall before they started. They were rowed down river in a small boat by someone like myself, probably out of commentary, before being taken through the entry of Traitors' Gate to be locked up in the tower, or executed up on Tower Hill, or inside on Tower Green. Now, one of the most famous people to pass through there was a very brave Scottish knight called William Wallace. You might better know him as Mel Gibson in the film Braveheart. Well, the bridge ahead of us is Tower Bridge. Now, Tower Bridge was designed by Thomas Jones and John Ward Barry. It was completed in 1894. Now, the centre span of this bridge opens like a drawbridge, and that's to allow large ships like the Belfast into the upper pool of London. Now, the 2 bascules weigh 1,100 tonnes each, and they're so well balanced they can be opened with just 1 pint of water. Now, it's all electric now, and it's a working museum as well. You can climb up one side, cross the top walkways, and then visit the Victorian engine rooms on the other side. But as we pass through Tower Bridge, we leave the City of London, the 1 square mile, and we enter the Greater London area of 600 square miles. It's also where we make our next stop at Tower Bridge Quays and Catherine Pier. So if anybody has a ticket for Tower Bridge Quays and Catherine Pier, whether it's a single or return, you must change boat here. This boat does not return to Westminster straight away. We continue down River Thames.
It was nice actually, it was a really, really nice and pleasant. Okay then. It's got splash weather and up there.
Seen at land once. She's a museum today, open 7 days a week. You can explore all 7 decks from the crow's nest right down to the engine room. If you look on our right hand side, the building behind the row of trees, it's got the clock face and the black chimneys on top. This is Walter Guard's house, the headquarters of our country's customs and excise. Any illegal contraband taken from our country's ports, like alcohol, cigarettes and drugs, they are taken to the basements of that building. They're stored in there for 1 month and they are then burnt in the incinerators. They are said to be destroyed. You're going to get a very short glimpse of the large dome and golden cross of St Paul's Cathedral. It was designed by Sir Christopher Wren and said to have been his masterpiece. Now the cathedral is 365 feet tall, a foot for every day of the year. Also on our right we got the Red Bricks building.